Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. A few months ago I tried to print LEGO compatible stuff with a resin printer, but it wasn't very successful. My prints came out a bit distorted and I couldn't really find the root cause. This time I'm going to use a different printer. This is the Uniformation GKtwo. It has some surprising tricks and I will show you how I managed to print all these cool LEGO compatible rims, so let's get started. But before that, as always, a quick disclaimer. This isn't a full product review video and I'm not an expert giving my opinion on the product. I'm showing you my journey with various tools and gadgets as I discover their functions and explore how they can be used in the world of LEGO. So we get two devices from Uniformation. The larger one is the GK2, a 10.3-inch 8K resin printer, and the smaller one is the curing station. Let me use another camera. It's quite a challenge to remove the packaging with just one hand. One of the cool tricks of the GK2 is the hinged cover, which is much more convenient to use than the normal removable covers. A good amount of foam protects the machine and all parts and accessories are stored inside. Now to the curing station. This is the transparent base that goes in. An important and satisfying step. There are some accessories in here too. I think it's time to bring both machines into my workshop. The GK2 has an easily replaceable air filter to help with the bad smell when printing with resin. Another plastic cover needs to be removed, then we can switch the machine on. It has an easy to use touchscreen interface. Let's move the Z-axis to get access to the vat. There's a plastic cover on it, and here is the vat that has no screws. It just slides in place and has protective covers on both sides that I need to remove. Now it is time to install the build plate. Again, no screws or similar are required. It is secured with a latch. Everything can be done quickly and easily. The build plate comes pre-leveled. We can test the leveling with the help of these small pieces of paper. It is perfect at all four corners. Assembling the curing station is super easy. We just have to insert the transparent plate, fix it, and that's all. Thanks to the transparent plate, the objects are illuminated from all directions, which makes the curing process much easier. Here are some of the accessories we get with the printer: a funnel, gloves, a screwdriver, other tools and paper filters. There is also a rubber scraper, a metal scraper and pliers, which are very useful. We also receive a replacement NFAP and a screen protector. I think now it's time to open a bottle of resin and print something. There is a USB port for the stick provided. We just select the file we want to print. There is also a picture of the object to help with identification and, well, that's all. And here comes the best feature of the machine, the built-in heating system. The last time I used the resin printer, it was pretty cold in the workshop, well below 20 degrees Celsius, and the temperature is already dropping again. The GK2 is able to heat the resin to a predefined temperature. You can choose between 25, 30 and 35 degrees. I chose 30. It takes a few minutes to reach this temperature and the printing can begin. No, this is no longer the first Benchy. I tried to print some models that I tested with the previous printer to see if there was a difference. This is what the objects look like before I take them off the build plate. I will show you the result in a moment, but first there's a little accessory that I printed with my filament printer. You can wait for the excess resin to drip off by leaving the build plate in place, but it takes a long time and it really helps to tilt it. I can put the build plate almost vertically in the vat, move the head down a little, and then with the 3D printed accessory, I can leave the build plate here and wait for the resin to flow back into the vat. So, I've printed quite a few things as you can see here. Let's go through them. As I mentioned earlier, I reprinted some of the items I tried with the Creality printer to see the difference. It's the same resin by the way, and the results are interesting. This was the rim printed at an angle. The surface is still ugly, there are some small deformations at the support connections and I couldn't really remove the support properly. This one sat on the build plate, the underside is much wider than it should be. But these two here, printed parallel to the build plate and raised with the support, look pretty good this time. No obvious deformations on the support side, very promising. The main difference is really the heated vat this time, which could end up being the key to avoiding distortion, but as you can see, alignment also plays a role. Some of the models you see here we made ourselves, others were bought online. I have collected the sources in an article, you can find the link in the description. As you can see on these, the amount of support is pretty important. It's obviously way too dense on these rims. I couldn't even remove it properly on all the objects, and on the others there are quite ugly marks. So, I decided to optimize the supports, make them lighter, and these rims here are already pretty good. By the way, these are 1/10 scale RC rims with a hex adapter connection. They are unfortunately not compatible with LEGO tires, but they definitely look pretty cool and detailed when we take a closer look at them. So, I scaled them up a bit and the larger versions were born. By the way, here's a little comparison with the FDM printer. As you can see, the resolution is significantly lower and adding support is a much bigger challenge because I couldn't really remove them all. So, these here are already compatible with some LEGO tires and fit a large number of vehicles. They need a little trick though. Luckily these small tank gears fit in perfectly and now they are suddenly LEGO compatible. Well, it's not a perfect solution as the spacers make the wheels stick out more, but we can test the look without changing the 3D file and I think some of them look pretty cool. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comment section. And here is this classic steel in a smaller size that fits perfectly on the Bronco, designed by Geneshvi. It also requires spacers due to the single axle connection, but there's another build with a similar wheel size where it can be used directly. How do you like the Ford GT base model? But wait, I have a much better one for that. This rim was a challenge even with the resin printer because the spokes are super thin, comparable to the diameter of the support itself as you can see here. Here are a few examples where I wasn't careful enough when removing them. Then I got better, but it took about 10 minutes to remove all the supports for a single rim. Here's another variation. This is a special high-resolution resin I bought for the 8K printer. Honestly, I don't see much difference. I think more detail is visible due to the color difference only. So, here are the rims on the Ford GT in white and also in black. These have slightly thicker spokes and I really like the look. As you can see, we have some very nice detail and a smooth look for the larger rims, but the resolution and precision of the resin printer can also be used at Speed Champion scale. Just look at those tiny rims on the proper car, it looks awesome. And finally, a little resolution test. This model was available for free at Halloween. This is the most common use of resin printers these days. People print miniatures with them. This file was professionally prepared. At first I was afraid of the amount of support, but apparently it was much easier to remove than with the rims. You can't see much of the detail on the white print, but this grey one has really great detail. If you want to achieve something like this, resin printing is the way to go. And the Uniformation GK2 is a quite capable machine to achieve such beautiful results. This machine isn't cheap though, but as always, I don't recommend buying it just to print a few LEGO compatible rims. If you are looking for a capable resin printer that's easy to use and has unique features like the heated vat, I think this is definitely worth a closer look. Please let me know your thoughts folks in the comment section. If you like this video then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications because there will be more exciting LEGO videos soon. See you next time, bye bye.